Hello. Today I'm going to talk about my first 2 weekends at the Las Vegas Sphere to see Phish at Sphere. It's not called the Sphere, it's called Sphere. So Phish at Sphere. I want to talk about it because people might be going the third weekend, they might have questions, and there's a few things I might be able to help with. I think you guys can hear me now. So that's good. What I was saying was the airport has a flat rate for taxi lines. So there's one of those taxi lines you can just get in line. It's about $28 plus tip to take a taxi, or you can take an Uber for less. Usually an Uber is going to be between like $16 and $25, but a taxi would be a little bit more. Okay. The Uber lot is less convenient because you have to cross the street, walk across a walkway, go in another elevator. The taxi line is just right outside when you get out of the baggage claim, and it was super easy. So that's just general Vegas logistics. Most of the strip hotels are 15 minutes from the airport, and if there's traffic, maybe it would take 20. Sometimes it only takes 12 minutes, so it's really not far, which is convenient. You can even see all the casinos as you're landing, which is a great location for an airport. I never get airports that are super far away, like Denver. It's like you have to go so far to get into the city. So that's the first thing. I stayed at the Venetian. It was my first time staying at the Venetian. I usually stay at the Wynn Encore because I'm bougie like that. But the Venetian was the hotel that comes with the package. It's also the closest hotel that actually connects to Sphere via convention center and like a walkway. So it's super convenient to stay there anyway, and it's right on the corner. Anyway, so let's see. So check in. Let me just go through. I have like photo albums of this is an order of them taken, but that's when I was leaving San Jose Airport. And then there's Yoshi who got to go on the plane. Yeah, this is a Ford Bronco shirt. By the way, someone in the chat is like saying that. So this is a Ford Bronco sweatshirt. This is Yoshi getting to go on the plane. And then that was my chipped nail. And then that was me excited. And then this is flying and like spotting the sphere from the air and then landing and then seeing the sphere. Oh yeah, the hotel room we got had a sphere view. So it was pretty sweet. I had a vanity, so I was like super excited. So as I was saying, the Venetian, the rooms are actually bigger than the Wynn. They have a little step down living room, so it feels like a suite. And then there's this like amazing vanity with a chair, and it has mirrors with light. So it's actually my dream because you know how I love to do my hair and makeup. So I got to have my own little vanity. So the first thing I had to do was get camera ready, of course. So I did like a bunch of like get readies with me, and I'm going the wrong way. I forgot. It's this way. All right, I'm getting ready. I took like a thirst trap because like why not? I did my makeup. So I was like, take a thirst trap. This was the tennis inspired outfit with the new Aloe Yoga spring colors, which is a yellow color. And that was exciting. Yay. All right. Then that was me walking through the hallway. This is going to document the walk to Sphere. Okay. I made my camera person, who's my friend. Okay. It's not like a hired camera person, it's my friend, film me on the walk. And so it was kind of fun. So it's just like me walking through the casino. And as I've gotten more and more followers across platforms, every time I go to a Phish event, I am spotted by a lot of people. And it's becoming more and more overwhelming where people are like, oh my God, it's Erica Reacts. So you'll see like I took a lot of pictures with people. So the first day we actually did not take the walkway to Sphere because I missed the first turn because I had never stayed in the Venetian. I usually take the walkway when I come in from the Wynn across the street, and then I just kind of missed the turn. But it was actually okay because I wanted to get pictures in front of the Sphere anyway. And so like this shows the walk to Sphere. I think I was like, look, there's the Wynn. And then the camera person did not pan up to the Wynn. And so I was like directing them like, you have to pan up to the Wynn. Okay. I'm always directing, this is how my videos turn out good. It's because of direction. Okay, so we had first entry the first day. First entry is when you win the lottery and they choose 300 people to enter the Sphere. I call it the Sphere because it's kind of like in British English how they say go to hospital, and it really bothers me. They don't say go to the hospital. So it really bothers me that they say go to sphere and not go to the sphere. It just bothers me from like a grammatical thing. But anyway, there's me waiting in the first entry line. I think I was 67 that day or something. 67. No, I wasn't 67. I was like 63. Anyway, so I waited in line. These are like other like famous rail riders. Like she's Maggie and she is known as Bikini Karini because she always wears a bikini. And she's been on tour for like 5 years or something. She hasn't missed a show. And this other girl, I don't know her name, but I've seen her Instagram before. She has a lot of followers. And then you line up in order, and then you kind of queue, and then, whatever. And then it was like, okay, quick, get a spot, whatever. And then I only had like a pashmina to tarp with. But the second weekend, I brought a tablecloth. So anyway, so there's me tarping on my pashmina. And then when you walk in, it was so bright because they had all the lights on. I mean, they had like an image of a farmhouse in Vermont, and it was daytime. So you felt like you were in the daytime. And so there you see the sphere view from my perspective. It looks like you're outdoors. Like it's actually pretty cool. Like you can tell it's animated, but you're also like, wow, I'm outside or whatever. Anyway, so this is like the tarping situation. Those people dress in pink. I've seen them at many shows now over the last year, and they always wear the same colors. Like one night they wear all white, one night they all wear pink, and it's like 4 couples. They were in Hampton, they were in Madison Square Garden. They're always on the floor. And so these are like my floor people, okay? Like I am a floor person. It's just who I am. I've only been in a seat once, and it was when I was in like VIP seats next to Trey's dad in the lower 100s, like in Madison Square Garden, friends and family. I don't know if I could go to a show and enjoy it if I wasn't on the floor, quite frankly. Like I just love being on the floor. So there I am, selfie. There's all my bracelets. Okay, what's the point here? I'm trying to remember because I just did 6 concerts in like 2 weeks, and I'm in 10 days, actually, if I count from like yesterday. And it's all a big blur. So all I can kind of remember is like what outfit I wore, and then I have the set lists here. So the first night, we had Evolve, Wolfman's Brother, and Wolfman's Brother, the Wolfman's Brother. Okay. Foam, I really like that song because it's like a salsa song. And then Theme from the Bottom. Dun, 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 dun. It's kind of dark. Rift is a fun song. It's very fast. Sounds like a train. Sense and Subtle Sounds. That was nice. Steam. And then Split Open and Melt was like real, like, gets real evil Phish. And they used this visual where like the whole world was gum, and there's these like gummy people, and they're like bouncing around, and it was like really creepy actually. And it was a very good evil Phish sequence. Okay. Second set, Everything's Right. Gotta make sure you guys can hear this. Okay, this is Wolfman's Brother. Okay, good. Let's see you guys can hear it. I don't know why my internet's so slow today. Like something's wrong with the internet, but it will load when it loads. That's Foam. I was like, didn't have enough space there. I'm like, switch spots with me. I think that's what I said. I was like, switch places with me. Let me find everything. This is Everything's Right. Once it loads. I only have a few clips. Oh, this is Rift. I love it so much. Alright, so I got crazy on Rift. Fun and contagious in moments like these. I like this part too. Soul to ignite. Alright, so that was Rift. I was happy. The girl with the golden hair. Okay, happy. And I got Foam Rift in the same set. I was so happy. I was excited. Had Pashmina power. Is this what I'm dancing with, the Pashmina on my head to Everything's Right? I think it is. So I really hope this loads. Yeah, it is.
Everything's wet, let's go on the track. Going down crazy speed, if the passion gives way, if you disagree, focus on the
Yeah, I was basically just happy, as you can see. Everything's right, so just hold on. Anyway, so the comments I'd say from floor generally is I was only cold on the first night when I got in and it was empty because we were some of the first people. So there weren't bodies in the room yet. And I was sitting there for an hour. That's the only time I felt a little chilly. The other nights on the floor, I actually got very hot and was very comfortable. However, I was wearing tights, so I wasn't just wearing bare legs. It looks like I'm wearing just stockings, but I have tights on under my thigh highs. Okay. But I was all very comfortable in a tank top throughout the shows. I never felt like I had to put on like a sweater or anything. That's a lot of people ask about the temperature. I heard it's colder up in the 300s and 400s because the air conditioner blows upward. Okay. So you might want to bring a sweater or shawl or something if you tend to get cold. And then on the last night walking home, it's actually pretty windy. And so it felt a bit chilly. And so I wanted to wear my tablecloth as a shawl as well as my pashmina that I had on the last night. Okay. So what else? What time should you get there? So the early entry lines up between 5, you have to be there by 5:45. You have to get there 5:30 to 5:45. And then if you're not first entry, you can start lining up, I think it's 6, or maybe you can also start lining up at 5:30, but it's in a different entrance. It's like just a little bit further around the sphere. And so they line up and then they go in after all the first entry has seated. And so really they go in at like 6:30, but you have to queue from like 5:30, but they don't want you to get there before. I'd say as long as you're in that line before the doors open, you get a pretty good spot. One night we got there a little later than I wanted because we ran behind and we got there like 7:20 and we still got to be somewhat center. We were just towards the back. But it was still a pretty good spot, but that was like the worst place we ever had. And I think as long as you get there by 7, you actually have a pretty good choice of GA spots. It just got really crowded after 7:15. I'd say it starts to get kind of crowded, and definitely I wouldn't walk in at 7:45 because they started at 8 sharp. Every single night they started at 8 sharp. Usually at Phish shows they started like 8:07, 8:08, something like that. This was like 8, lights would go down, they would start. So this is not the day to be like, oh, I'll show up at like 8:05. Like definitely get there early if you're in GA. If you have seats, you can do whatever you want. Show up when you want, you know? I have only been in the upper parts of the sphere for Backstreet Boys, so I can't give exact comparison, but I felt when I watched the Backstreet Boys, the visuals were cool from the upper suites, which sit right at the 300s, basically. But I felt the Backstreet Boys looked really small to me, and because they didn't always like magnify their dancing, I was like looking down at like ants, and they had like runways set up for the Backstreet Boys, so they would like come out onto the runways and like dance. It was different than the Phish setup. So anyway, I was really happy to be on the floor because I felt very close to the band, and I felt like I had good dancing space. I had more dancing space when you get there first entry because you get there early and you space yourselves out. But if you get there late, you're kind of cramming in, and then people coming in at the last minute just cram into wherever they can get. But if they were able to cram further up, they're going to be able to find more space at the front. So that's my advice on that. If you do come in late, try to cram up towards the front, actually, because there's probably some space up there, is my advice. All right, so that's the first night. There's Trey, there's me. I'm happy. Everybody's happy. Happy, happy, my friend. Okay. They did Space Oddity as a acapella.
This is ground control to Major Tom. You've really made the grade. And the papers want to know whose shirt you wear. Now it's time to leave the capsule if you dare. This is Major Tom to ground control. I'm stepping through the door, and I'm floating in a most peculiar way. And the stars are very different today. For here am I sitting in a tin can, far off the world. Planet Earth is blue, and there's nothing I can do.
Anyway, that was interesting. And then, oh, that first night is the only time I did an after party because I'm crazy. So I went to the Brooklyn Bowl because they had Eggy playing, and I had this like running joke with Eggy fans on social media that Eggy was desperate for fans, and so I wanted to make a video. But I'm not an after party person. And they're kind of an indie alternative jam band that also sounds a little bit like electronic. I can't explain it. But they're cool. And the drummer has a really nice voice, actually. They all sing really nicely, actually. I'd say the vocals and Eggy are really strong and they have great harmony. Anyway, so then eventually I just was like, I'm watching from this couch and putting my feet up. Okay, so then I met a ton of people who I knew from other shows. So I was with this nice lady and her husband in Mexico. I was with them in New York, Hampton. Like, I feel like we go back a long way now. I don't remember. Then I made that video. This one went super viral. I got a lot of hate comments because I was dancing enthusiastically to Phish. So yes, that was fun. Then this was like my day look for Friday morning for going to fan art. Fan art was held in Brooklyn Bowl, if you don't know. Fan art is a collaborative of like artists, like Phish fans who have little art stands. It's like different from this shakedown I'm about to show you. But basically, they just collaborated there. Here we have the Shakedown lot, which is held at the Tuscany Hotel, which is a lower end motel casino a few blocks off the strip. So you can walk there in about 20 minutes. It was a really easy walk. And that's where I think the truly party people probably stay at Tuscany. I also know my parents used to stay at Tuscany randomly because it's cheap. And it has kitchenettes. So you have a bigger room, you have a kitchenette, you have a refrigerator, you can cook. Like it's a nice budget option versus the luxury hotels where they don't even give you a coffee maker in the room because they want you to buy coffee downstairs. So everything in Vegas costs money. So there's no coffee maker in the Venetian, but there's a cafe downstairs that sells it right at your fingertips. So the shakedown was like vendors and all that stuff, mostly Dead stuff. It's interesting because the Grateful Dead type vendor people, they just seem to follow Phish as well. And then that's Chelsea. She also does Phish content and she actually sells merchandise now. So she was running a table at Fan Art. And then let's just see. That's the eagle that was in Mannequin, my music video I made. So whenever I go back to the Wynn, I like to take a video of the mannequin because it was the joke at the end of my music video. And then I like to sing to the mannequin in case I ever decide I want to dub over it again to make a part 3 of Mannequin. So that's my little weird like eagle head. So then I made a little thing about like while I curled my hair. And then, okay, so here's my night 2 look. My night 2 look is like hot pink, pigtails, tank top, thigh highs. Well, these are only knee highs, actually. They're my only pair of knee highs. You really have to go with like length of thigh showing, whatever. So I do my little photo shoot. I do my little walkways. Okay, then this is our walk to the Sphere. This time we took the walkway. You just follow the signs in the casino. As you're leaving the Venetian, you turn right. See these signs up there? It's like Phish. And you know where everyone's going because they all look the same. They're generally men between like 45 and 60, white men between 45 and 60. Anyway, there's me walking to the Sphere. This time we got there on the later side, I think. Yeah, so this is when we were more towards the back. That's Tom Walsh. He does a lot of Phish photography. So I think since I took that because he's always taking photos of us, so I figured I might as well take a picture of Tom Walsh because he's always like somehow he gets in your face. Somehow he just like shows up and it's like picture, 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 and you're like, okay. But he really does a good job of getting a good amount of pictures of the fans. So this is the floor on night 2. It's a little more crowded back here, you can see, but I still had room to dance. Yeah, that's just the star visual. I wasn't so into the visuals because they kind of make me seasick, I'm not gonna lie. So that was fun. That was like the Susie Greenberg one. It was like a retro video game, so it kind of was like Erica, retro gaming, full circle. And then I like the CK5 lights. Anyway, that was a fun show. We'll go over. That's just me getting down to Carini. I gotta sell that video on my Patreon or something. It's a very sexy dance. I was like, you know what? If people are gonna complain about my dance videos, I might as well put them behind a paywall, and then only people who want to see them can see them. It's nothing you couldn't have seen if you were there, so totally fine. It's just me walking around. Okay, let's see. What was the set list for Friday? Free, Birds of a Feather, Martian Monster, Gaula, Papyrus, Divided Sky. Oh, Divided Sky was very beautiful. Phish, Sphere, Prediction. I was at the first 2 shows. Okay. Divided Sky, Hey Stranger, Mole, the song that started it all for me, ironically. Limb by Limb, Susie Greenberg. Set 2, No Man in No Man's Land. Okay, Into Light, Into Joy. That was my first joy. Mike's song, I Am Hydrogen, We Could Paw Groove. That always goes together. Beneath a Sea of Stars, part 1. Most events aren't planned. And then the encore was that very sick Carini, which was very evil Phish. Then I was like, wait a minute, guys. I think there's gonna be like a Gamehenge visual. I was hopeful it was gonna be a whole like Gamehenge set, but I still was like, I bet there's gonna be like a Gamehenge visual. I don't know why. This is what this prediction was talking about. I was like, I bet there's gonna be like a Gamehenge, a part of Gamehenge, most of Gamehenge, maybe a whole set of Gamehenge. I thought there was definitely gonna be a visual that was Gamehenge. And I was right. Okay, these are like random people that would ask me for photos. Okay, so I was spotted. And every time someone asked me for a photo, I said yes, because I'm a nice person. And this is the night 2 recap I mixed. Birds of a Feather. Whispers of a Feather. Karini Encore. I got a little bit wild. Anyway, here's more fans that want to take photos with me. Now it's the next night, night 3, neon thigh highs. Those were neon people, so that's why I took a picture of them. Neon people, neon walking, got a spot, also kind of towards the back. But we were fun. We were next to really fun people this night. We were next to these couples who lived in Vegas, and they were so fun. And the girl like loved my energy, and like we were dancing together, and we were just having a really good time. So this was a really nice night. Trying to remember. Oh, this was my game hedge set. They played Colonel Forbin, and I basically lost my mind. Yeah, I went crazy.
Suddenly heard the crack of thunder, and the rocks began to crumble overhead.
Those are the lizards. They're really cute. They were so cute. And there was like a little McGrupp. McGrupp's the dog. It was great. It was like everything I ever wanted in my life. Anyway, I don't know why these take so long to freaking load. But yeah, I had a good time that night. Oh, this is Sigma Oasis. The visual is like a bird flying, and then the flying sequences make me dizzy, so I don't really look. Yes. I'm reading the chat, by the way. All right. So that night we had Buried Alive opener. That was a lot of fun. Into AC/DC back. So much fun. I was like, ooh, maybe we're going to go some game hunch now. Okay. Reba. I love Reba. Then that Colonel Forbin started and I went crazy. Colonel Forbin goes into Fly Famous Mockingbird. That's just how it is. It's part of the story. Sigma Oasis. Walk Away. That was the one I just showed you as the cover because that guy was there. And then Bathtub Gin. It was it was a heater. That Bathtub Gin was nice. But then the second set, this Oblivion into this simple, and the simple Trey started simple in the wrong key. Okay? It was actually really funny. In fact, I'm going to play you that part because that's actually the funniest thing about, let's see. I'm logged in. Wonderful. I need to find the 18th. To me, it was the funniest Trey flub in a really long time. So, let's see. Okay, listen to Trey mess up the beginning of Simple. He starts it in the wrong key. Once they start singing, he realizes it's too high. Watch.
We've got it simple. We've got it simple.
So bad.
'Cause we've got a band.
Can you believe that?
We've got symbols in the band. My bad.
Anyway, it was so funny because he totally messed up that. You just had to be there. Okay? It was like, I love that that's recorded forever by the tapers. Like, there it is. Then waist, the romantic, well, tweezer, of course. And then waist, twist, run like an antelope. That's fun. Run, 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 run. Okay. And then I had not had a run with an envelope, but and then in New York, I got my first one. And then I got one in Mexico, and now I have my third one already after having zero. I went from 0 to 3 run like an antelope really quickly. Encore, I am the walrus, and tweezer reprise. All right, and that sums up weekend 1. Let's see. Anyway, all right, that's weekend 1. Weekend 1, so fun. Oh yeah, that was the weird visual of the dentist gone wrong and the teeth, and it was like really disturbing. That was tweezer, I think. No, that's just how I dance. Someone in the chat goes, "You're trying too hard." I'm like, no, that's just how hyped up I get. Like, this is me just being ADHD. I'm not trying. That's just how I dance. Wow, I had space. Yeah, I just get happy. I just love tweezer. I love dancing. So anyway, that was the tweezer. Wow, I got a lot of videos from that night. I haven't really mixed that together yet. I should. Then I did a walking. I was very happy about my set list. Okay, then these are other people I met that I knew from the internet. I met her in Mexico, but we met on TikTok. And then this is another fan who asked for my photo. And then this is the friend I showed you from the other day that I know her and her husband. And then that says me going home. And this is everyone. Then this is the internet blowing up my video of me dancing because the Phish internet incels et al. Not just incels, but incels et al. Okay, et al. It's like when you're citing a paper, you say et al. Like if there's more than 3 people. They went crazy over my dancing videos. So I was trying to see like what would happen the next weekend. That's still the set list from there. And this is when I went over. Did I go over the set list?
Phish at Sphere weekend 1 recap. I was really happy.
I was just excited about Colonel Forbin's ascent, honestly. Oh yeah, then I got my Bottle Rocket band, Bottle Rock, for seeing them. This is another fan who saw me at the casino, and he follows me on Instagram, and he wanted a photo too. So we got a bunch of photos. And then that was again the girl. These are just like, oh, that's my friend Natalie, who I didn't realize how short she is. She was in heels, and I still had to bend over to hug her. So she's probably like 5'1", because I'm 5'9". But she's in like tall heels, and I still am bending over to hug her. That's just a collage of a lot of the people I met who I knew. That's my show. I had to add everything to my phish.net. Then I had to get a manicure. Then I started telling, I told this crazy story. Okay, this is me getting to, then I didn't even take photos between weekend 1 and weekend 2. I literally just came home. I worked for 3 days, and then I like flew back to Vegas on Thursday, which is what I guess I'm doing this week too. Though Monday last week, I felt the same way, that I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this. I don't know how I'm going to go back to Vegas. I don't think I can do it. I don't think I'm strong enough. But then somehow I did it. And already I know that like tomorrow will be a normal day. I'll feel great. And then by Wednesday, I'll feel really productive because Wednesday is a really big work day for me and I'll have a lot of clients. And then I'll be like, all right, I can go to Vegas again. Why not? Okay. So then this second weekend, I took the train to the San Jose airport because it's cheaper. It only costs, I have a train pass, so it just cost me my bus fare. This time there was snow on the mountains. It was really cool. So as we went over the mountains, the Sierra Nevadas that separate California from Vegas, there was beautiful snow caps. So I really liked that. So also the Wi-Fi went down, so I just took pictures of the snow because I had nothing to do except listen to my downloaded Grateful Dead playlist that is the songs that One Man Gone performs. And I was like, oh good, I have something downloaded on Spotify because the Wi-Fi was down. So then it gets very desert-like, then you land. And then I was like, I'm back in Vegas. Now this time, my gentleman caller who took me to the first weekend, he couldn't come the second weekend. So that's why I brought my friend Maya, because he's like, I don't want you to be alone, so you have to bring someone. I was like, obvi, like, hello, who's going to film me, you know? And then there's this girl, and she's like 24, and she's like a goose influencer. And so then she's willing to be just as silly as I am and do stuff like this.
Woo! Okay, here we go. Woo!
Like pop bottles of Veuve in the room and stuff.
Woo!
And then me doing my stupid transitions. I have to like film these to like make the transition videos. Like when so then it looks like this once I put it all together. When this loads. It's really good when it loads, you'll see. But yes, basically these like work so much better on Instagram, by the way. It's like, why am I suffering through Google? Why am I suffering? Oh yeah, this was the Taylor Swift inspired. I was like, all right, I've done one weekend. Let's just step it up a bit. I was like, let's just step it up, you know? This is a funny video.
Just remember, this is our Coachella.
I hit myself in the face. That was accidental. That's why it's
Just
so
remember.
funny. I think we all noticed, by the way, someone in the chat just said, I think people don't notice when you F up when you're playing. I agree, but the Phish was so off on simple, and then Trey was like, oops, my bad. Like, they were really off. They were in a completely different key. The band was not playing in the same key. So anyway, then we did our photos. Isn't she so cute? She's like 24. She follows the band Goose. They're like a young jam band where all the people in the band are like under 30. And so was on Goose tour, and she's like a hippie, and I'm like Barbie core. But it was a really cute little like conglomerate. And then we just filmed dumb videos, okay? Like just straight up dumb videos. Like this one. This is our Coachella.
This is our Coachella.
I came up with that idea. I was like, let's just walk like we're on the model runway, and then we'll just say this is our Coachella. I was like, that's gonna piss people off. It was fun. Okay, maybe Rick's not under 30, but the point is Goose is way younger than Phish. Phish is like 60. They're all 60 and 61. Goose is like in their 30s. Yeah, so then me and Maya were at the show, and she was a very different energy than being with the date because we were just like two cute girls just doing whatever the F we want. And she's so young, so she brings out my youthful energy. And yeah, we just did the show. Oh yeah, the second weekend, every set list was like insane. There's another person that wanted to get my photo. Then I thought I thought we had like this 40-minute fuego, but then Phish.net or like the setlist people, Live Phish said that it was called Dark Puddle. They said the fuego went into something called Dark Puddle. It just sounded like a fuego jam. It just sounded like a 40-minute fuego. It didn't sound like it went out of that. But this was like, set 2 was this crazy long jammy thing, which is nice. I love when Phish does like a long jammy set. That was definitely that night. And then, of course, we got a backwards down the number line, a cavern, a possum. They're all crowd pleasers. Encore, fee, crowd pleaser. Tube, it's a crowd pleaser. More, one of my favorite dumb songs, but I love it. Vibrating with love and light, pulsating with love and light, in a world gone mad, a world gone mad. There must be some. I love that song though. So I like all the Phish songs basically. Then there's people defending me because everything on Facebook started blowing up, and I was again like the most targeted person in the Phish fans who hate Phish fans. I'm now written about on Reddit. I'm written about on Fantasy Tour. I'm written about in the Facebook groups. People just cannot handle me. They literally lose their effing minds. Like, oh my God, she's dancing. She filmed herself dancing at a show and posted it online. God forbid. Anyway, got a lot of steps. Okay, then the next night was great. It was my first Gaiuti. Not my first Esther, but I love Esther. Gumbo, I love. That was made my first Brian and Robert. Oh my God, the Moon Age Daydream, which is the cover by David Bowie. That was my third Moon Age Daydream. So I'm up on that. We just had a good time. We were just like goofing around. We were just being silly. Okay, this is one of the funniest videos I recorded.
Is this your reaction?
What?
Is this your reaction?
My reaction? My reaction.
This is her reaction
My reaction
to.
of the day is we only do VIP pool. We don't do GA.
Yeah, no GA pool for
Like
us.
we only do VIP pool.
Only VI pool.
Yeah, we only do cabana or bust.
Yeah, basically what happened is Maya and I were walking around to find a spot at the pool around noon, and there was no chairs open, like literally no chairs open. It was just like everything had a towel on it, or someone had put their stuff out or whatever. And then there's this guy sitting in a cabana, and he kind of looks, and I kind of look, and I'm like, and I'm used to people recognizing me now, so I'm like, oh, maybe he recognizes me from social media, and he's kind of waving to me. And I was like, hey, he has a cabana, let's go talk to him. And then it turns out he doesn't know who I am, but he was just waving at us because he was alone and his friends were still sleeping, and he was just completely like abandoned by his friends. So then we hung out with him, and they ended up being a really nice group of 45-year-old married men who were just having like a fun boys' weekend. And they were such gentlemen. They were such kind gentlemen, generous, bought us drinks. I was very flattered because he thought I was also 25. I was like, yes. Because she's 24, and he's like, oh my God, like he thought I was the same age as her. Like he's like, what? Like, because I was like, well, I'm not, but thank you. And then the video I just showed you, it was the cabana next to us. Oh, because eventually all the guys showed up, right? It wasn't just this guy alone. But the next cabana, they recognized me. That's why he said, the dialogue goes, I'm walking, I'm like getting a content. And then I was like, oh, just film me walking by the pool. And the guy at the next cabana goes, what's your reaction? Because he knows I'm Erica Reacts, right? And so I go, my reaction, Erica Reacts to pool. And that's when I was like, we only do VIP pool. We don't do GA pool. Because the cabana was so sweet that I was like drinking champagne and stuff that I was just like, this is the life, you know? We don't do GA pool. So anyway, that's why, that was just funny. But that's because he asked me, like, what's your reaction to the pool? So I had to be funny. That's the pool. It's very nice. Okay, then I did more transition videos, getting ready. Couldn't decide. I decided not to do pigtails. I went with this sheer neon top over a pink bathing suit top. This is where the bathing suit dance comes into the bikini picture, the bikini dancing, because I got so hot on this night that I took off the sheer layer and I danced in a bikini top in the second set. It's true. And I'm like, that's video I should put on Patreon and have people pay. I mean, I was dancing in front of everyone, and it wasn't even revealing. I'm wearing like high-waisted shorts. Like, I'm not wearing like a bikini that's revealing on the bottom. I'm just wearing like, and it's a bandeau top. It doesn't even show like cleavage. It's not like a triangle string bikini. It's actually very conservative as far as two-piece bathing suits go, in my humble opinion. So anyway, that's just like photo shoots, you know, got to get that content, got to get that photo, work it. Maybe this was the... Franz Ferdinand, Take Me Out. Okay, there's us on the floor. And she always had such cute little hippie... Okay, then we got the game henge, but for the lizards. We got the man who stepped into yesterday. which is the beginning of Gamehenge, but it was like the house image from the beginning became the nighttime. And then you became underwater. Okay, that the farmhouse got submerged underwater as the man who stepped into yesterday started. And it was a really cool visual of the house floating. And then it was the man who stepped into yesterday. And then it went into the lizards with the Gamehenge visuals, but modified a bit from last time, which is what I thought they were going to do because they can just replay the sections of it.
And he turned to me and he began to say, "Said I come from the land of darkness, said I come from the land of doom, said I come from the land of Gamehenge, from the land of the big bamboo. Well, I never going back there, and I couldn't if I tried. Said I come from the land of the doom, day and night, day and night, day and night, day and night."
So yeah, then I danced to Yamar. Mike Gordon as the lead vocal on the Yamar. Little known fact. The bikini dance. This is when I gotta sell. This is to Life Saving Gun. I was like, honestly, wearing a bikini is pretty comfortable. Okay, then we made stupid videos to like manifest ghosts for the following day. All right. We had me walking around the pool in my like cover up. And then this is another friend I met online who lives in New York City. She's so sweet. More pool time. Oh yeah, that was because I had to make the dark Pink Floyd thing. Then I did my makeup. This was a whole tutorial I did, and then I sped it up. I haven't published it yet. But I basically did like, this was my best transition.
Hot and dangerous. If you're one of us, then roll with us. Cause we make the hipsters fall in love when we got our hot and dangerous.
It was so good. And then this was a joke. I was like, we're like having our champagne. I'm like, oh my God, what if we like just randomly do it to Bertha? Because it's so random, and pretend that we like want a Bertha. Because we knew like the Deadheads would like it. But we know Phish doesn't play Bertha. We were just effing with everybody. And they like literally can't handle it. They lose their mind. We're just like dancing around. Anyway, that just, people lost their mind on that. They lost their mind. They're like, Phish isn't going to play Bertha? What are you talking about? I was like, I know. I chose Bertha because I thought it'd be a fun thing to dance around. Anyway, that's my friend Evan, who was one of my original fans, and he was supportive of me back when everyone was bullying me online like a year ago. And I first met him in Chicago. And he came up to me and he gave me a ton of stickers. And since then, I've seen him at a few shows. So it was so fun. And of course, that's how realistic the sphere looks when you get in. It's like daytime. That man didn't mind at all. We were good friends the rest of the night. I was like, oops. Anyway, I try to get most of the content before the show starts. So this was first entry 37. We really were in the second row, but then the people who took the first row saved a bunch of spaces for their friends. So then there was like a big group of like 8 people in front of us. And then we were in that row behind them. But we had plenty of dancing space. I didn't need to be on the rail. I was like practically on the rail. MoMA dance. And then I only have 5 clips from this night. I have 5 clips of about 1 minute. And the rest of the time, I didn't have any phone out. This is all I have. Cities, what else? Okay, that was a typo clip. I have 5 clips, that's it. I have 5 clips, and that was the only phone use of the whole night. Yet, the internet thinks I'm just like on my phone. I'm not. These are all I have. This is Blaze On. Yeah, these are the only clips I have. I have like 3 more, I think, and that's it for the whole Saturday night. That's all I have. Oh, this was Ghost. Because we manifested this, remember? We did our little Ghost. We knew Ghost was going to play because it was like logical. But then it came on and we were like, it's Ghost. We just did the dance for this earlier. I said we manifested. I don't have any other outfits. I'm out of bodysuits. That was fun. And then I forget what this one is.
Take your shirt off!
That's Maya saying take your shirt off at Mike. Yeah. I forget what they play here. I barely watched these clips. This is like from 2 days ago. I don't remember anything. Bug. Yeah, this was Bug. The encore.
Times when I don't. Concepts are partner. And concepts I will never see.
Okay, so for this night, the cameraman was... Okay, there's someone who follows me on Instagram, and he's married, and he has, like, kids. He's, like, maybe late 40s or early 50s. I'm not sure. Maybe mid 40s. I don't know. He's, like, 45 to 50, probably. I don't know. And he is a big fan, and he came up to me in Mexico, and I had met his wife, and then his wife is so nice, and she's not really a fan at all, but she's a good sport, so she always goes to Mexico with him. And then... So then his wife came out for the first weekend, and so I saw her and got to like, oh, how are you doing, whatever. But then he was alone at the shows for the second weekend. And the night before, as we were leaving, or he was on the floor kind of near us, but not really. And then he kind of came over and was like, hey, like the taxi line's really bad at the Sphere. So why don't I just walk you guys back to your hotel and then I can take the taxi from there? And I was like, great, why not? And we had like a nice talk about the show and whatever. He's a really nice guy. And so then what happened is that he saw us up in the front and he said, and I was kind of like, hey, look, you know, like you don't want to be a jerk and come up to someone's spot if you like they weren't there in the first entry line. I don't want to like bring up a bunch of people and stuff like that. But I was like, hey, the people here seem pretty cool. So like as long as it doesn't get any more crowded than this, you can come stand with us and stand right next to us. And he's like, okay, and then I'll just take a few videos of you. And I was like, that would be very nice, you know. And he's like, and I'll buy you drinks. And I was like, great, that would be very nice. So basically he got a really sweet spot because of our luck in the first entry. And I got a few videos. And again, there's only 5 1-minute clips from the third night. So that's what's so funny is that the perception, they think that I'm just like recording myself the whole show for like 4 hours. It's not true. I'm recording myself for 5 clips that you see and then I post it and that's what you project. You know what I mean? So these are the only clips I have from Saturday night. And he just picked up the phone whenever I was really in the moment. And he's like, oh, let me record. He'd be like, oh, give me your phone. Like whenever he thought I was like really in the moment, he would just record the clip. And we were like, oh my God, it's first 2. We were like so excited. Shimmy. I love First Tube so much. And Trey's a freaking rock star. We were so hyped up. Anyway, that was me leaving Vegas. Anyway, so that's my recap of the first 2 weekends. If you think about it, it was like 8 days, right? It's like a Thursday through Saturday. It's like 9 days. So in a 9-day period, I went to 6 shows in 9 days. That is absolutely insane. So that's why my brain is also just like not fully processed everything because I'm back in my normal life for a few days and then I go back and I live in the Phish world. And then I come back. So when leaving the venue, what's my advice? My advice is if you're on the floor, they make you exit on the floor level. So you can't take the walkway back to the Venetian. So you're out on the street. It gets a bit crowded as usual when you're leaving big venues. The cops are out there with traffic control. So they're holding the cars and stuff and making a wider walkway off the sidewalk. The nitrous balloon people are about halfway between the Sphere and the Venetian. But if you go past the first set of nitrous people, there's like the balloon mafia, which just is like people who just have like ready balloons. I don't do that. So I stay to the far right to avoid the people who are having the nitrous delay because the nitrous creates traffic because people are stopping to get balloons. And then I never did, except for that one after party of Eggy at the Brooklyn Bowl, I did not go to any other after party show. I did not go to the Shakedown to see any music afterwards. I did not go to Shakedown to see music before, except for that one day I went to Shakedown on the fan art. First weekend one, Friday, I did fan art, and then Shakedown. There was a dead band playing and during the daytime. It looked lovely. Not that many people were really like watching. It was kind of like 12 people standing around. It's kind of sad, actually, because people are just kind of doing the vending and whatever. So I just don't really have the energy to do that. Like I have to take a nap every day between like 2 and 3. I take a 20-minute nap, 20 to 30-minute nap every day. My hair and makeup routine takes about an hour to an hour and a half, depending on like if I want to like film during it or like drink champagne at the same time, you know. So that whole thing takes time. Then you got to walk over. If you get first entry, you have to be there by 5:30. So that really sets the day earlier. And even if you don't get first entry, you still got to leave by 6:30 to get there by 7 to be not in the super bad spot, right? So I think if you have a seat, you have less stress because you can come in at 7:55. You know, make sure you account for security time. But getting through security was pretty easy. They just like checked my bag. They never took away any of my sweet tarts or my sweet tart ropes because I have to have sugar to keep going during the show because I'm dancing so much. So basically, I need to be like fed sugar every hour. I get like low blood sugar. But they took away my pretzels. On the last night, I tried to shake pretzels in, and they're like, "You gotta throw away your pretzels." I was like, "What? I can't have my pretzels," so I wasn't able to take my carbs in. But they were pretty lax about the bags. They kind of just looked and were like, whatever. They weren't like taking away anything. Um, but yeah, there was definitely stuff going on. People were gambling. I don't gamble, so and I don't like casinos because they smell like cigarettes. On the last night, no, on the fifth night, someone near me was smoking cigarettes on the floor, and it was really gross. And I was literally like getting my throat burned because they were smoking a cigarette. And I didn't think security was that good. Also, there were people fainting on night 5, like a lot of people. I saw someone collapse every single night, by the way, on the floor. Someone collapsed every night on the floor. If not, and even if it wasn't like a full collapse, there were people that definitely had to like sit down because they got overwhelmed or too dizzy or something. But there were people who actually really had to be taken out in a wheelchair. I saw at least one a night. Apparently up in section 405, stuff got real crazy up there. There's like some funny Reddit posts about that. People having bad trips and just acting inappropriately and like yelling out and touching people, and things got real weird up in 405 apparently. But overall, I'd say a lot of people came up to me. A lot of people recognized me. People mainly said they liked my content. No one came up to me and said, "I hate your content." You know, people who came up to me would be like, "I like your content." And I could tell there was people who recognized me and gave me dirty looks, mainly like women. Okay, I'm not going to lie. But not all women. I'd say just a few women. Like, it's like just a few selective women. They'd give me this like look, and then they'd be like, you know, anger. And then maybe I think there were some guys who recognized me but didn't want to like say hi or anything. Or they kind of like looked to each other that they're like, "That's her," you know, but they didn't like say hi. So, but then what's interesting is like there were people who didn't follow me who then saw me in person first, and then they got shown, my content then came up after they saw me in person, and then they DM me being like, "Oh, you were next to us the other night. It was so great. You were so fun. It's nice to meet you." One guy said, "Oh, you were singing in the elevator. I didn't say anything, but you had a really nice voice. And then I found your page." I was like, "Oh, okay, great." So like people were either they knew who I was or people were finding out who I was. And then some people, well, actually my favorite people were the ones who didn't have social media, the dads who let us in their cabana, the married dads who just like were there. None of them had social media. They're just like, "We don't have social media." And I was like, that's wonderful, actually. Like, I love that. I was like, please don't get social media. It's terrible. Social media is a curse. But that was the best because it was just like they had no impression of me, but they were also just very intrigued. They're like, "Wait a minute, you make Phish content?" I'm like, "Yes." And they're like, "What else?" I'm like, "Well, I have a YouTube channel." They're like, "What do you do?" I'm like, "I react to music." And they're like, "What? What's that?" I was like, "Here, look." And they're like, "Okay." They're just like, "What is this world?" You know, that they're not really up on the internet, you know? So it's just kind of funny to tell people about that. But overall, I had a great time. And then let's see, getting back, the Venetian has a Uber lot pickup area in the parking garage. It's really easy to get to. When you exit the hotel elevators, you get off at floor 2 instead of the casino floor, and you walk. It's not that far of a walk, and then you get your Uber if you want to do that, or you could go to the front valet and get a taxi, a proper cab. And it was not long to get back to the airport. The first week, when my flight was at 10:30 home, security was a breeze. And I was in TSA pre-check, as I should be, because I also have clear. This time, security was effing messed up. I had an 8:30 flight, so I was there earlier. And the clear people put me in the freaking regular TSA line. But luckily, they had the nose dogs working. And so when they have the nose dogs working, you don't have to take off your shoes or take off your laptop. So, however, all the belts were going slow, and they didn't have enough people. And everything was a disaster. And then like I had to put my shoes through. I have clear and TSA pre-check. So it takes me usually 5 to 7 minutes to get through security, if that. And this was the first time in a long time that it's taken me like 30 minutes to get through security. And I was just like, this is terrible. So then Clear sent me a survey. How did Clear go in Vegas? And I was like, terribly. Like they put me in the wrong freaking line. So anyway, That was, but I made the flight because I always allow for extra time. So, because I'm responsible, I like to get to the gate at least 30 minutes before boarding just to feel secure that I'm there. Do carry on only. That's the way I fly. Just carry on only. Oh yeah, I had like a tablecloth, a very small tablecloth that I brought to Tarp for weekend two, just because I wanted something to sit on the hard floor. It's a small tablecloth, like for one of those small card tables, but narrower. It's for like a side table, if that makes sense. So very small. But yeah, the music was great. And again, I'm not about the visuals. Like, you see all the pictures of the visuals. People sitting up top, they're there for the visuals and they're just like, wow, the visuals. The music sounds great. I saw the visuals, but I'm not going to go like this the whole time. And I can see the lowest layer of the visuals without cranking my head. So I would look, but I would also sometimes just not and just dance and go like this and look at the ground and kind of like close my eyes and just listen to the music and get trance-like, right? So I don't need it to be the sphere. The venue is still beautiful and the visuals are still really unique. So even if you're not obsessed with the visuals, like how I wasn't obsessed with visuals, it's still just very breathtaking to be in there. And the sound quality is really good. They have fishmen in like a cage and it's because they're controlling the sound. They're curating the sound to how they send it out to the different sections individually. And the people in seats have haptics that when Mike does certain bass notes, the seats shake with the bass, which is really cool. So I think that would be a really cool experience. The reason I can't be in seats is that I would hit people with my arms because I swing my arms when I dance. And I could be in row 1 of seats where I can like reach out over a rail, then I'm okay. But if I'm confined and I'm not on an aisle, I guess if I had an aisle, I could reach my arms out over into the aisle, I'd be okay. But if I have people on all sides of me and I can't do my like swinging arm moves, I just don't think I can handle it. So that's why I do the floor, to be honest. That's why. So anyway, in summary, that was my experience going to the Sphere. I can't believe I did a whole hour video. That's crazy. That was my experience going to the Sphere. It was really fun, and I'm going to upload this separately as a video because I recorded it on my computer at high quality. So rather than seeing it under the live tab, you will see it come up as a new post with a new thumbnail. They'll be like, Erica recaps the Sphere weekends 1 and 2. And if you guys have any questions on that video, just feel free to leave comments. And I still have a few days. It's Monday, so I'm going to get this video up in about 20 minutes. And then you'll be able to ask me questions before you pack for weekend 3, if you have any specific thing. And then I do have some questions from chat. They just say, everyone's individual. One person in the chat thought I'm trying too hard, but I just don't think they understand that I'm just very out extra as a person. Okay, take care. I'll see you guys soon, and bye.